Philip, what are your thoughts? A very different program from what we saw with the Conservatives in the past.
I think this is certainly a shift away from the Conservative policies of the last 14 years that have been much criticised, especially in the last couple of years, and some of the policies undertaken by Boris Johnson and in particular Liz Truss, two of the former Conservative Prime Ministers, one of them being one of the early measures that the King announced there, which was tax and spending was now subject to the Office of Budget Responsibility, the OBR, which was not consulted before Liz Truss introduced her budget, which left a £30 billion hole in the state coffers and had to be met with the intervention by the Bank of England. So that will now no longer be possible. But some of the expected policies have been announced by the King: planning reform, infrastructure and housing. There's going to be an increase in the amount of houses built around the country, greater devolution at the heart of economic growth. That's the term that was mentioned several times during this speech: growth and more growth and then growth again. There will be local leaders will be able to take control of their local bus transport, and also there will be the establishment of what the King called the Great British Railways. That means a renationalisation of the railway system in the United Kingdom, also to promote growth. A few other issues that the King touched on there: the urgency of the global climate challenge, the clean energy transition, which he said would achieve energy independence for the United Kingdom, and on foreign issues, a commitment to NATO, saying that was unshakable, continued full support for Ukraine and its future membership of NATO, and a pledge that Britain will continue to secure peace in the Middle East, and also a two-state solution. And one other important measure that was announced by the King, that is improvement to trade relations with the European Union, and working with the EU on mutual threats that both EU countries and the United Kingdom may face.
Indeed. So quite a lot of focus there, both on international and domestic issues. It was interesting. It seemed to me that while holding a position that is much more left-leaning, when it comes to border control, security, there were comments like more powers to the police, stronger borders. Is Labour trying to speak a bit to the Conservative base with that? It's
certain that certain or some Conservative policies are reflected in what the King has just read out, which is obviously being compiled for him by the Labour government. There's going to be an overhaul of the asylum and immigration system. What the Labour government has done is to say, well, we're going to abandon the Rwanda policy, which was sending asylum seekers to Rwanda, where they could then apply for asylum, but they wouldn't be allowed back to the United Kingdom. They could apply for asylum in Rwanda. That has been shot down by the Labour government, saying it was never going to get off the ground in the first place anyway. And what they're going to do is to boost support for more policing along the border, to try to step up collaboration with the French to stop boats coming across from northern France. But most of the immigration is actually legal immigration into the United Kingdom. So what they want to do is to overhaul the asylum and immigration system within the country itself. And on the issue of the police, the King said that they have to have greater power to deal with antisocial behaviour, also to be able to intervene in the event of possible terrorist attack, and to protect women and girls. That was also another important issue that's been underlined by the Labour government. And just one other very important issue that was a key election pledge by the Labour government was about the National Health Service, which has been vastly criticised as a result of cutbacks over the last 14 years of Tory government, of Conservative government in the UK. He said that the NHS is to be improved with regardless of ability to pay for those who need treatment, and to reduce the waiting times, which are far too long for many people in the United Kingdom, and also a big pledge to modernise mental health care in the United Kingdom.
Certainly. And just very briefly, just in a minute, Philip, what about the House of Lords? I mean, how there were some definite moves to modernise the House of Lords. How surprising is that?
There have been a lot of complaints over the years that the House of Lords is not a democratically elected institution, that the Lords are nominated, and that once they're sitting in the House of Lords, then they can just pass on their title to their offspring. That is about to change. That is something that's been in the balance for quite a long time. Many demands saying this is not democratically possible to keep just handing on, handing over a lord title or a baroness title to someone else in the family. That person needs to be able to be worthy of that title. But the House of Lords is not democratically elected, but the House of Commons is democratically elected, and that's the difference of power. And then we have the monarch, but the monarch is not in charge of everyday running of the government. The monarch is there to be the monarch, but it's the House of Commons, the government, that runs the country.
Indeed. All right, Philip, thank you for that. We'll be talking a lot more about that throughout the day here on France 24. Philip Turle, talking